Big news today, as Theme Park Insider has reported that an Orlando-based company called Enchanted Parks Holdings LLC has filed for 8 trademarks that allude to ownership of at least 3 and possibly up to 5 current Six Flags parks. The 8 trademark applications are for Enchanted Parks Camping Resort, Enchanted Parks Galveston, Enchanted Parks Great Escape Lodge, Enchanted Parks Michigan Adventure, Enchanted Parks Oceans of Fun, Enchanted Parks St. Louis, Enchanted Parks Water Safari, and Enchanted Parks Water's Edge Inn. Now, back in November, we learned that Six Flags was making a deliberate effort to reduce its portfolio, and at that time, the message was, we are trying to pare down the company into just its core parks. And what constitutes a core park today may not be a core park in the future. We also learned in the time between then and now that includes so-called cash cows, smaller parks that are profitable but have no room for growth. Today, we see 3 of those cash cows on the butcher's block. Great Escape, Worlds of Fun, and my home park, Michigan's Adventure, appear to be among the 8 trademarks that this new company, Enchanted Parks, have applied for. And besides those 3, Galveston and St. Louis are also the home of 2 Six Flags parks that have little room for growth but have strong presences in their local markets. All signs currently point to the impending sale of Michigan's Adventure, Six Flags Great Escape, Six Flags St. Louis, Schlitterbahn Galveston, and Worlds of Fun in KC-Mo. So who is Enchanted Parks? Lots of speculation is floating around that this might be a spin-off company. But that doesn't really make much sense to me, as if you're still affiliated with Six Flags. Why wouldn't Six Flags just keep the parks and all the money themselves? Regardless of whether or not they're affiliated, Enchanted Parks appears to be a new division of a company called Innovative Attraction Management. According to their website, they're a company founded by former Disney cast members who have, quote, taken their critical learnings and cultural expertise and applied them throughout our professional career, end quote. And also, quote, are actively seeking to acquire high-performing water and amusement parks to expand its portfolio and enhance its market presence, end quote. Now, the company's current portfolio consists of a water park in upstate New York and a construction-themed family park in New Jersey, just east of the Pennsylvania border. So what does this mean for the future? Well, on its face, this appears to be great news. Under Cedar Fair and Six Flags, respectively, Michigan's Adventure, my home park, has languished away without a new coaster for decades. Unless you count the relocated SLC Thunderhawk in 2008, the last new coaster in Michigan was constructed last century. A company coming in and deliberately trying to build the park up would be a huge positive for me as a fan of Michigan's Adventure. I've said before on the channel that my biggest worry for Michigan's Adventure was that they would sell the land to someone who doesn't want to operate an amusement park. This appears to be the exact opposite of that. But it does beg the question, when is this going to happen? Is this transition going to occur during the next off-season, or are they going to try to push this deal through as quickly as they can? And if they do, what does that mean for all parks passport holders? We'll have to keep a close eye on this situation as it unfolds. Six Flags was just in business news last week as they plan to, quote, issue $1 billion in senior notes due in 2032. It appears to me that this essentially is the private sector analog to savings bonds issued by a company instead of by a government. But I'm a bouncer, not a rich person, so if you know better than me, please sound off in the comments and explain it to me like I'm 5. Notably, though, the chain said that one of the primary purposes of raising the funds is to support the redemption of existing senior notes. Now, call me crazy, but that sounds an awful lot like the old adage, robbing Peter to pay Paul. If these guys are writing bonds or notes or whatever you want to call it to get enough money to pay off their old bonds or notes, then they really might be in even more dire financial straits than we thought back in November. The SEC has apparently signed off on this deal already. So if we can trust the federal government... Oh, hold on. Where was I? Then we can assume this deal is on the level at least. At press time, it is unclear how many of these notes were issued directly to Travis Kelce. That's all for today. If you like this video, make sure you come back Wednesday for part 2 of my 3-part series, the DNA of roller coaster design. The subscribe button is a very reliable way to find that in this ocean of content. And it's also an extremely reliable way to give a giant bearded stranger a dopamine boost from anywhere on the planet. I've been Josef, Vertical Drop Viking out.